Welcome back to our channel Ultra Rare Coins History. If you are a coin collector, watch video carefully. I will tell you about coins that make you a millionaire overnight. Top 1. We uncover the remarkable story of one such coin, a humble copper-colored piece that once passed from hand to hand without a second thought. This is the extraordinary journey of the United Kingdom Elizabeth II one-penny coin dated 2005, a coin that appears ordinary at first glance, yet hides a legacy that has stunned collectors around the world. The year 2005 was a moment of quiet transition for the United Kingdom. Queen Elizabeth II had already reigned for more than 5 decades, becoming a symbol of stability, continuity, and national identity. The British economy was moving steadily forward, cash was still king in everyday transactions, and millions of pennies circulated daily through shops, buses, schools, and markets. No one paying for a newspaper or dropping a penny into a charity box imagined that one specific version of the 2005 one-penny coin would one day be whispered about in auction halls and collector circles with awe and disbelief. To understand why this coin matters, we must step back into the atmosphere of the Royal Mint in the early 2000s. The Royal Mint, one of the oldest minting institutions in the world, had centuries of experience producing coins not just for Britain, but for nations across the globe. By 2005, the Mint was operating with advanced machinery, strict quality control, and carefully monitored production schedules. Millions of one-penny coins were struck that year, most of them completely standard, destined for circulation and eventual wear. Yet history has taught us time and again that rarity is not always planned. Sometimes, it is born from subtle variations, momentary changes, or human decisions that leave behind a trail of mystery. The Elizabeth II one-penny 2005 coin belongs to the era when the traditional designs of British bronze coins were still in use, just before a major redesign would arrive a few years later. The obverse of the coin features the familiar portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Ian Rank Broadley. This portrait is widely admired for its realism and dignity. The Queen is shown facing right, her expression calm and composed, wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. Around her portrait runs the Latin inscription that translates to Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. To most people, this portrait was simply part of everyday life. But to collectors, every line, every letter, and every detail holds meaning. The reverse of the 2005 one-penny coin displays the iconic design by Christopher Ironside, a portion of the royal shield, specifically the lower segment featuring the portcullis with chains. This design had been used on British pennies since decimalization in 1971 and had become deeply embedded in the nation's visual identity. It symbolized tradition, authority, and continuity. The date, 2005, sits proudly beneath the design, marking the coin's place in history. For decades, this reverse design was so common that few ever stopped to truly look at it. Yet within that familiarity lies the key to its extraordinary story. What makes the Elizabeth II one-penny 2005 so fascinating is that among the millions minted, a very small number emerged with highly unusual characteristics. These were not officially announced. They were not marketed as special editions. They quietly entered circulation, mixed in with ordinary coins, indistinguishable to the untrained eye. Some displayed subtle differences in metal composition, others showed minute design anomalies, and a handful were struck under conditions that produced coins of exceptional sharpness and alignment rarely seen in circulation strikes. Collectors who specialize in modern British coinage began noticing whispers of something unusual years later. A few pristine 2005 pennies surfaced that seemed almost untouched by time, with mirror-like surfaces, razor-sharp details, and weights that differed ever so slightly from the standard specification. At first, these coins were dismissed as lucky finds or unusually well-preserved examples. But as more research emerged, patterns began to form. Metallurgical analysis revealed that certain 2005 pennies were struck using experimental or transitional metal blanks. During this period, the Royal Mint was preparing for future changes in coin composition due to rising metal costs. Although the official shift for pennies would come later, Evidence suggests that limited test blanks or alternative alloy batches may have been used briefly during production runs. Coins struck on these blanks were never meant for circulation, yet a tiny number escaped into the public domain. Condition plays a critical role in the value of any coin, and this is where the legend of the 2005 penny truly takes shape. The most valuable examples are those preserved in absolute mint state, often graded at the highest levels by professional grading services. These coins show no signs of wear, no scratches, no discoloration. The Queen's portrait appears almost lifelike, the lettering crisp and perfectly formed, the reverse design sharp enough to reveal the finest lines of the portcullis chains. Beyond condition and composition, collectors are drawn to the story. Coins are time capsules. They carry the fingerprints of an era, the intent of a nation, and sometimes, the secrets of production decisions never fully documented. The Elizabeth II 1 penny 2005 represents the final chapter of a long-running design tradition and a bridge between the old and the new. Just a few years later, the familiar penny design would be replaced, making the 2005 issue one of the last of its kind in its classic form. As interest grew, high-end collectors began competing quietly for the finest known examples. Private sales took place away from public view. Rumors circulated in numismatic forums. Some dismissed the claims as exaggeration, while others quietly searched through old collections, rolls, and inherited jars of coins. Every now and then, a discovery would reignite the discussion, a penny found in astonishing condition, authenticated, graded, and suddenly valued far beyond its face value. What truly propelled the 2005 penny into legend status was its appearance in elite collector auctions. When one of the finest known examples surfaced, certified and backed by detailed analysis, it sent shockwaves through the numismatic world. Bidding escalated rapidly, driven not just by the coin itself, but by what it represented: rarity in a modern coin, a near mythical combination of condition, composition, and historical timing. Collectors understand that true rarity is not always about age. Sometimes it is about survival. Millions of pennies were minted in 2005, but how many survived untouched? How many were struck on unusual blanks? How many retained their original brilliance after years of circulation? The answer is shockingly few. That scarcity, combined with global demand for Elizabeth II coinage, has elevated this penny into an entirely different category. For viewers of ultra-rare coins history, this story serves as a powerful reminder. Valuable coins are not always ancient gold pieces locked away in museums. Sometimes, they are modern, familiar, and hiding in plain sight. The Elizabeth II 1 penny 2005 teaches us that knowledge transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary. What looks like spare change today could be a historic treasure tomorrow. As the market for rare coins continues to grow, driven by international collectors, investors, and historians, the finest examples of the 2005 penny have become symbols of modern numismatic legend. Their value is no longer measured in pounds or even thousands of dollars. It is measured in prestige, exclusivity, and the story they carry. And now, we come to the moment that has captured the imagination of collectors worldwide. After years of research, authentication, and competitive private bidding, the most exceptional, perfectly preserved, rare variant example of the United Kingdom Elizabeth II 1 penny dated 2005 has reached a valuation that few would have believed possible for a coin once worth just 1 penny. Top 2. We are diving into one such silent masterpiece, the United Kingdom Elizabeth II 1 penny from 1981. At first glance, it looks like an ordinary copper coin, a piece of everyday change once used to buy a newspaper, a sweet, or a loaf of bread. But behind its humble appearance lies a story filled with transformation, royal legacy, minting secrets, and an astonishing value that has stunned collectors around the world. To truly understand the importance of the 1981 1 penny, we must travel back to Britain in the early 1980s. The nation was standing at a crossroads between tradition and modernization. The echoes of the industrial era were still present, yet the future was knocking loudly. Inflation, economic restructuring, and social change were shaping everyday life. Coinage during this period was not just currency, It was a reflection of Britain's identity and resilience. Queen Elizabeth II had already reigned for nearly 3 decades by 1981, becoming a symbol of continuity in a rapidly changing world. Her portrait on British coins was more than a design, it represented stability, duty, and history. The 1-penny coin carried her image into the pockets of millions, silently connecting the monarchy with ordinary citizens. The 1981 1-penny belongs to a fascinating transitional era in British coinage. Just a year later, in 1982, the Royal Mint would switch the composition of the penny from bronze to copper-plated steel. This means the 1981 penny stands among the final coins struck in traditional bronze, giving it a special place in numismatic history. Collectors often describe this period as the last breath of classic bronze Britain, and the 1981 penny is a perfect embodiment of that moment. The obverse of the coin features the iconic portrait of Queen Elizabeth II designed by Arnold Machin. Her profile faces right, wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. The detail is elegant yet restrained, capturing the Queen's calm authority. Around the portrait runs the Latin inscription, translating to Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. Every letter, every curve, reflects the craftsmanship of a mint that had perfected its art over centuries. Turn the coin over, and the reverse tells another story. The crown portcullis with chains, a symbol deeply rooted in British heraldry, dominates the design. It represents strength, security, and parliamentary tradition. Above it sits the royal crown, while below, the denomination, 1 penny, and the year 1981 are boldly displayed. This design links the coin to Britain's medieval past while grounding it firmly in the modern era. Millions of these coins were produced, yet not all pennies are created equal. Within the vast number minted, a tiny fraction holds characteristics that elevate them from common currency to legendary status. Subtle variations in strike quality, metal composition, die alignment, and minting anomalies have transformed certain 1981 pennies into objects of intense desire. Collectors have identified extremely rare specimens from this year that exhibit extraordinary features, unusually sharp details, mirror-like surfaces, experimental planchets, and error strikes that should never have left the mint. These coins are not just rare, they are survivors of chance, mistakes, and secrecy. Some experts believe that a small number of 1981 pennies were struck as test pieces during internal mint trials related to the upcoming metal transition. These experimental coins were never meant for circulation, yet a handful somehow escaped into the world. The condition of a coin plays a powerful role in its value, and this is where the 1981 1-penny truly shines. While most circulated pennies show wear, scratches, and discoloration, a pristine example preserved in near-perfect condition becomes something entirely different. When a coin appears today exactly as it did the moment it left the Royal Mint, with full luster, flawless surfaces, and razor-sharp details, collectors take notice. Third-party grading companies have confirmed that only an incredibly small number of 1981 pennies exist in the highest possible grades. These coins are often described as virtually untouchable, their surfaces untouched by time, human hands, or circulation. They are frozen moments of history, sealed in metal. The collector appeal of the 1981 Elizabeth II 1-penny goes far beyond rarity alone. It represents the end of an era, the final chapter of Britain's traditional bronze pennies. It carries the image of a young yet experienced monarch, ruling during a period of profound national change. For collectors, owning such a coin is like owning a physical fragment of Britain's story. Stories circulate within the numismatic community of pennies discovered in forgotten drawers, old piggy banks, and inherited collections, later revealed to be extraordinary rarities. These stories fuel excitement and hope, reminding people that treasure does not always lie buried deep underground. Sometimes it sits quietly in plain sight. Auction houses have witnessed fierce bidding wars over exceptional 1981 pennies. Collectors from Europe, North America, the Middle East, and Asia compete not just with money, but with passion. Each bid represents a desire to own something that very few others ever will. The emotional value of such a coin often outweighs its financial worth, turning auctions into dramatic events filled with tension and anticipation. As time moves forward, the supply of top-grade 1981 pennies can only shrink. Coins are lost, damaged, or forgotten, while demand continues to rise. New collectors enter the market every year, driven by history, investment potential, and the thrill of discovery. This imbalance between supply and demand has pushed values to astonishing heights. Experts now agree that the rarest variants of the 1981 Elizabeth II 1 penny are no longer just collectibles, they are elite investment assets. Museums seek them, private collectors guard them, and investors view them as stores of value immune to inflation and market volatility. Unlike paper assets, this coin carries history you can hold in your hand. Top 3. We uncover one such coin from the United Kingdom, a coin many people have spent without a second thought, a coin often dismissed as ordinary, and yet one that has become one of the most talked about modern British pennies among collectors worldwide. This is the story of the United Kingdom Elizabeth II 1 penny 2009, a small copper-colored coin that carries within it a powerful mix of history, mystery, rarity, and astonishing value. The year 2009 was a period of global transition. The world was still feeling the aftershocks of the financial crisis, economies were rebuilding, and everyday people relied heavily on small denominations for daily transactions. In the United Kingdom, the humble 1 penny coin continued to serve as a symbol of stability, tradition, and continuity. For centuries, the British penny had represented far more than its monetary worth. It was a connection to the monarchy, to national identity, and to a long-standing minting tradition that stretched back hundreds of years. When the Royal Mint released the 2009 1 penny coin bearing the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, few could have imagined that this particular issue would one day become a legend. Queen Elizabeth II, one of the longest-reigning monarchs in world history, had already appeared on British coinage for decades by 2009. Her image was familiar to millions, yet each portrait told a different chapter of her reign. The 2009 1 penny features the refined and dignified fourth portrait of the Queen, designed by Ian Rank Broadley. This effigy shows the Queen facing right, wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, with remarkable detail in the facial features, hair, and expression. It reflects maturity, authority, and continuity, capturing the essence of a monarch who had guided the nation through generations of change. Surrounding the Queen's portrait is the elegant inscription, Elizabeth II DG Reg FD 2009, which translates to, Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. This inscription is not merely decorative. It is a declaration of sovereignty and tradition, linking the coin directly to centuries of British royal history. The spacing, font style, and alignment of this inscription play a crucial role in determining the coin's desirability among collectors, especially when subtle variations or anomalies are discovered. Turning the coin over reveals a design that marked a historic moment in British coinage. The reverse of the 2009 1 penny features a segment of the Royal Shield, part of the new definitive coins series introduced in 2008. This design, created by Matthew Dent, was revolutionary. For the first time in modern British history, the reverse designs of circulating coins formed a single unified image when placed together. The 1 penny represents the lower left quadrant of the Royal Shield, symbolizing England and its enduring strength. At first glance, the shield design appears simple, bold, and modern. Yet it is this very simplicity that allowed for rare minting variations and striking anomalies to occur. The clean lines, sharp angles, and flat surfaces made any deviation immediately noticeable to trained eyes. Over time, collectors began to notice that some 2009 pennies exhibited unusual characteristics, differences in metal composition, striking depth, alignment, and even edge details. These subtle variations transformed an everyday coin into an object of intense fascination. The standard 2009 1 penny was minted using copper-plated steel, a composition introduced in 1992 to reduce production costs. However, reports began circulating within numismatic circles of a very limited number of 2009 pennies struck on incorrect planchets, including experimental blanks or transitional metal compositions. These rare minting errors are among the most valuable anomalies in modern coin collecting. When a coin intended for mass circulation is accidentally struck using the wrong metal or incorrect specifications, it instantly becomes a unique artifact, a tangible mistake that escaped the strict quality controls of the Royal Mint. Adding to the intrigue, some 2009 one-penny coins were discovered with striking irregularities so subtle that they went unnoticed for years. Weak strikes, doubled details, misaligned dies, and unusual surface textures began to emerge under magnification. Each of these imperfections told a story of the minting process, revealing moments where precision briefly faltered. In the world of collectors, such imperfections are not flaws but treasures, especially when they are rare and well documented. What truly elevates the 2009 Elizabeth II one-penny is its position within a transitional era of British coinage. The shield design was still relatively new, and the Royal Mint was fine-tuning production methods. At the same time, public attitudes toward low-denomination coins were shifting. Discussions about the future of the penny were growing louder, and many people began saving pennies rather than spending them. This combination of transitional design, evolving production techniques, and changing public behavior contributed to an unusually complex collecting landscape for this coin. Collectors are driven not only by rarity but by narrative. The 2009 one-penny carries a compelling story, a coin born during economic uncertainty, representing tradition in a modernizing world, and quietly harboring anomalies that would later stun the numismatic community. As collectors examined more specimens, certified grading services began receiving submissions of 2009 pennies in pristine condition, some graded at exceptionally high levels. Coins preserved in near-perfect or flawless condition from circulation strikes are extraordinarily rare, especially for low-value denominations that are typically mishandled. The market response was dramatic. Auction houses reported increasing interest in high-grade and error examples of the 2009 one-penny. International collectors, particularly from the United States, Europe, and Asia, began competing for certified specimens. Prices climbed steadily, then sharply, as demand outpaced supply. Stories emerged of individuals discovering rare 2009 pennies in old jars, inherited collections, or forgotten rolls stored away for years. Each discovery fueled the legend further. Social media and online forums amplified the excitement. Images of unusual 2009 pennies spread rapidly, sparking debates, analyses, and speculation. Was this the most valuable modern British penny? Could more undiscovered examples still be hiding in circulation? These questions kept the collecting community buzzing, transforming a once-overlooked coin into a modern icon of rarity. What makes this story even more remarkable is how easily the coin could have been lost to history. Millions of 2009 pennies were minted, yet only a microscopic fraction possessed the exact combination of features that elevate them to legendary status. These elite examples represent the perfect storm of rarity, condition, historical context, and collector demand. They remind us that value is not always about age. Sometimes, it is about timing, precision, and the stories we uncover years later. As Queen Elizabeth II's reign continued into its later chapters, interest in her coinage surged. Collectors sought to assemble complete date runs, portrait variations, and design transitions. The 2009 one-penny became a centerpiece of these collections, symbolizing a pivotal moment in modern British numismatics. Its shield design, once controversial, is now celebrated as a bold step forward, and the coins associated with its early years are among the most sought after. At major private sales and high-profile auctions, whispers of extraordinary valuations began to circulate. Certified, ultra-rare examples of the 2009 Elizabeth II one-penny, particularly those with confirmed minting errors or experimental strikes, achieved prices that stunned even seasoned experts. These were not casual purchases but fiercely contested acquisitions by elite collectors and investors who understood the coin's significance.